Hells yeah! Yeah, damn right! You fuck with my bitches, you fuck with me, yeah! I'm your host, fucking Dave, and welcome to the Halloween special of the shit show I like to call Everybody Dies. Hells yeah! Happy Halloween, my little Davites. Now, I know I don't usually do a Halloween special on this show. That's because I'm one of those pretentious douchebags that celebrates horror all year round. So when it comes to October and picking an episode, I usually just pick a horror movie. You know, I don't stop to think to specifically get a Halloween movie to review. But, you know, this year is special. New apartment, new everything. So, we have a Halloween movie picked out for you. But of course, this is my show, so it's gonna be fucking terrible. Asylum of Terrible, to be exact. Made in 1998 by director George Dick, who made a couple other movies that I've never seen and don't plan on. He was also a zombie in Day of the Dead, according to IMDb, so his career wasn't a complete failure, I guess. Let's read the IMDb plot synopsis of Asylum of Terror. A child molester's ghost terrorizes an amusement park. Oh. It used to be a prison for the criminally insane. Now it's a haunted house and one of its former residents wants to come home. Tonight, curious thrill seekers enter the Asylum of Terror and travel down death row for a frightfully good time. Unbeknownst to them, a serial killer and former guest of the asylum has infiltrated the staged carnage and begun his own form of entertainment. So he's not a ghost, not a child molester, and it's a haunted house, not an amusement park. I fucking hate IMDb. They let anyone write whatever they want on there. So it looks like Asylum of Terror was released by York Entertainment. I wonder what else they've released. After Scream stabbed box office numbers in 1996, movie distributors were going to extreme lengths to release any and all slasher movies they could find to cash in on Scream's success. So a lot of super low budget to no budget home video quality movies were released that would have normally never seen the light of day and would have been forgotten, and my show probably wouldn't exist. So everything would be better. But included in all of those was this terrible little piece of shit in 1998 called Asylum of Terror. Let's just get it. After 3 minutes of padding, opening credits, we open up on a home video camera going about town, and we even see Death Row Records, which for a while was owned by toy company Hasbro until April of this year. True story. Fucking weird. But also true. And more interesting than this movie. As the footage rolls, we squint to see blurry 90s people walking toward a haunted house. This person, for some reason, appears to be training to be an astronaut. We max out the volume, trying desperately to make out dialogue, and then get blasted with random awful noise and quickly turn it back down. Prepare to do this a lot. A Jason Mewes clone makes out with this woman for a while with very loud lip-smacking action and great dialogue like this.
Bob, damn man, you're so hot.
You're driving me crazy.
Oh yeah.
Jay and Boo Boo Kittyfuck are interrupted by their friends who are the supposed characters of this movie, including Not Turk from Scrubs, another woman indistinguishable from the other, and since it's the 90s, a white guy in plaid. God help us if he ties it around his waist later. We hear this awful shrieking that's supposed to be a cat, I guess.
So you're a cat lover.
Before we cut to a typical 90s family. Like looking inside the Ark of the Covenant, ain't it? These random sound bites are really fucking annoying. This grown-ass man brags to these 20-30-somethings about going to haunted attractions by himself. What a fucking badass. He tries to scare them by saying, what if a real killer came here and killed people for real? basically telling the one-sentence plot of the movie. But what if it was a ghost who diddled kids? What then? They searched near and narrow to find actors of this caliber.
Gene, I still don't know why you want to do this.
Well, because I've never done it before. Sounds like fun.
I just don't see what's in it for you.
Oh, it's the noises. I love loud crashes, and I really like the sound of breaking glass. It'll be auditorily rewarding. Sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. I really like the sound of breaking glass.
Some more random non-characters mumble on camera about serial killers and random shit as they wait in line to get into this haunted house. This is the whole movie. People walking and driving to a haunted house, waiting in line, and then finally getting in and leaving. Oh, and some people get killed. Maybe. Let's fight the urge to turn this crap off and continue. Unless you're scared.
We're not scared of anything!
16 minutes in, we finally see the inside of the goddamn place and some of the assholes working there. They spared no expense at the dollar store with these costumes. We hear on a radio something about a killer who did it because of horror movies. Good to use that bullshit in a horror movie because idiots actually believe that and it's not helping here. People finally enter the place and Sweaty Satan starts with the insult comedy routine. And he keeps singing and dancing, so I hit the fast forward button. Look at the dong on that dummy. But enough about me. Endless footage of people walking through the worst haunted house ever is finally interrupted 26 minutes in, when our supposed killer, we've not seen once before this, just waltzes in frame and kills this guy, taking his dime store Trevor Morehouse mask. And after all this build-up, we get our first kill. 29 minutes in, we get some more 90s boobs, and we say meh, have an unenthusiastic tug, and continue on with the movie in our own mess. Jason Badknees walks around with some bad voiceover that could be hinting at a backstory, but who really cares? Look at that fucking hair. Then, he headbutts and hangs this guy in front of everyone else. Of course, I think it's part of the show, but, why is it gotta be... Never mind. Least of all, wouldn't his friends be worried knowing that he doesn't work there? 34 minutes in, we get some fucking. Nothing else going on, so why not? The killer interrupts them mid-coitus and cuts off his mask, head, and chases the woman as she spins around in circles before drilling her shadow to death. The haunt is currently happening, so I don't understand why it keeps cutting to people setting stuff up for it. Then we get some more nothing kills, some lost in poor lighting, some not. Then the racist, killer, kills this guy, surprising no burning stakes are around, and takes his paper-thin shit Michael Myers mask because they knew they wouldn't get sued because 1, they had no money, and B, no one would see this. Then he kills the owner of the haunt.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Does this belong in my next Halloween knockoffs video, or will the director cry on Facebook about it? Time will tell. Despite the bad acting, we get a very bloody chainsaw death that's actually not awful, but then it's ruined by having a half hour of more movie after that. The killer then talks inaudible dialogue with this guy, who I guess is a hallucination of someone he killed, because sometimes he looks like this, sometimes he looks like this, and then sometimes he's a stunt guy that's on fire. Whatever. Then after dressing like dime store knockoffs of Jason and Michael, the killer dons a mask of the third most known and famous slasher icon, the Crow. But then Asylum of Terror does the impossible and makes me smile.
This isn't scary. Well, that's a little scary. No, it isn't. I want to be really scared. You're not scary either. Hey, let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Please, mister! Leave my brother alone! No! I'm gonna kill you! What?
Run!
Or a light jog will do, I guess. Well, it can't rain all the time. Wait, what? The second we guess that these are our surviving characters because there's no one left, and I still can't tell you who they are, the killer stabs blood at them to death and stares at this wall. We then see a montage of all the kills in the movie because padding, and to show off the amazing effects again. You can actually skip the movie and just watch this montage, but I recommend you do neither. Oh, Sean Cunningham is still alive and fights Jake the Snake Roberts for a while. He avoids the DDT and makes it to the roof, and Jake continues his vengeance on Whacking Day. He throws Dennis Reynolds off the roof and he survives somehow in a world where people die immediately from having their shadows stabbed. American Psycho finds his chainsaw and thankfully keeps more than his socks on. But chainsaws are no match for this. Oh no, the other ugly 90s kid is still alive. Patrick chainsaws the killer's dummy stand-in to death and prepares for a badass one-liner to finish off the movie.
Fans want gore? Hope they're happy.
Whatever. Then he and the ugly kid leave as we zoom in on the killer's body and his awful hair and nothing happens. Cut to exactly 5 minutes of end credits. So if you take out the 8 total minutes of beginning and end credits, this movie has an actual runtime of 67 minutes, and in that, very little happens, and what does, you can barely make out. Visually, audibly, it's just a fucking goddamn mess. It is an endurance test of boredom and awfulness. And sadly, it's not the worst thing I've covered on this show. And where was the ghost? I didn't see any child molesters either. Of course, we don't know what happened after the cameras turned off here. Asylum of Terror was not the first, and definitely not the last, horror movie to be set in a haunted house attraction, and people start dying for real and everyone thinks it's part of the show. It's been done to death. It really has. But it's been done so much better. And what those movies did correctly was made the haunts and the attractions themselves actually good. Now, one extreme is the houses that October built. Now, a lot of people love that movie. I think it's good in the fact that they go to real haunts, real attractions, so those parts are great. They just tried to make loosely an actual plot around those locations, and it just didn't work. And then you have stuff like the Funhouse or Funhouse Massacre, where the setting is great, but also the rest of the movie is great. Asylum of Terror just did poorly on all fucking levels, and that's why it's so goddamn bad. But whatever. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Halloween special this year. We'll see you next time on Everybody Dies.
Hell yeah!
Yes, I know this jacket is too small, but it was the cheapest one I could find on eBay. I'm surprised it fits at all, so get over it. Hells yeah.
Yeah, I'm fucking stony, ain't I? Chin. Hells yeah! Damn, girl, you got a butt. Poop!